some doubts about Transformers 1, the upcoming movie. That will come out this September. In fact, the movie is going to come out on September 13th. The first episode of the Generation 1 cartoon came out on September 17, 1984, so it will only be a 4-day difference. And that what brings me to the idea of Transformers 1's marketing is if you want to celebrate the Transformers 40th anniversary, then make this movie a celebration of a lifetime. Because the movie is just 4 days from the initial release of the first ever Transformers episode, More Than Meets the Eye, then promote the tar out of it in that sort of way. Now, I believe Hasbro is aware of this. I kind of have a suspicion that they planned this movie for this particular time. This movie was originally going to come out on July 19th, but it was pushed back to September 13th. There was more production reasons, but at least the date is close to the original release of the Generation 1 cartoon. I haven't found any real connections now between the 40th anniversary and the Transformers 1 movie, but closer we get to the release of the movie, the more we might see the relationship of the 40th anniversary celebration and the movie. So expect that relation to pop up. Now I have one complaint. Why call it Transformers? I know that things just need to be simple, but come on, have some imagination. All that might do is confuse people like, is this relation to the live action movies? What does the title mean? What does the title mean? Why is it called Transformers 1? This is just an addition of the list of lame names given to Transformers media. You had Predacons Rising. In that movie, there was no Predacons Rising. It was just 2 more Predacons. Then you have Rise of the Dark Spark. Like, why is the Dark Spark rising? You know, words need meaning. Even though I'm not too fond of the title Dark of the Moon, at least the title was really relative to the rest of the movie because of the space pillars that was on the ship on the dark side of the moon. Even the last night, in some sort of capacity, if you consider Kay Yeager a human, because he can be considered the last night because he was given the talisman, so he was the protagonist and it was about him. Even though it shouldn't have been about him, he's just a human being. Why is a movie about Transformers focusing on a human being? Shouldn't the Autobots be the heroes of the story? Just one of the endless reasons why The Last Night isn't a good movie. And recently, Rise of the Beast. The movie was supposed to give more emphasis on the Maximals. The Maximals were in the movie, but it didn't make sense with the idea of using the word rise. What is the rising about? When you make titles to a film, make sure you have a defining title that is represented throughout the movie, and not just some empty title for no stinking reason. And you notice a pattern? Transformers, Predacons Rising, Transformers, Rise of the Dark Spark, Transformers, Rise of the Beast. All bad names in which the title have rising or rise. Basically, it has the word rise in it. All names that had really nothing to do with the overall plot of the media, whether it be a game or a movie. It's an empty title in which the reason why it's called that can be found nowhere in the medium. Shoot, before Transformers Reactivate, it was going to be called Transformers Rise, according to some rumors. Once again, just adding the word rise. Glad they changed it. Reactivate is a far better word than just rise. And after the trailer to the game, it makes sense to call it Reactivate. So the title is relative to the game. It makes sense. Just like Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron, and even Age of Extinction to a degree. Because the Autobots were being hunted down and they were being replaced with synthetic Transformers. So the name is pretty relative to the plot and not just some empty title that means not a daggone thing. Just like The Rise of Skywalker, another movie with Rise in it. Rise of the Guardians, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Now that makes sense because relative to those movies, having the word rise makes sense with what was going on in the movies. Instead of trying to sound cool with a title, make an intelligent title that goes along with the plot of the movie. And then it will sound cool. Because the audience will understand why the movie was called that. But people won't understand why Rise of the Beast was called Rise of the Beast. bet you won't even see them in the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie. Now, I have a question for the Transformers 1 movie. How brutal will this movie be? Because Transformers is mostly a children's brand, and animation is usually a medium for children for American market. So what will the rating be? How violent will it get? We are in different times. This is not the 1980s anymore where certain things can be just passed, forgiven, and pardoned. Will the fighting be cut back because it is animation? That's one of the things to think about. We must always consider that Transformers is for mostly children. So this is something to really think about. Now, the voice actor that will be playing Optimus Prime will be Chris Hemsworth, the guy who played Thor in the Marvel movies. People making complaints that Peter Cullen is not returning to play a younger Optimus. However, in the original Generation 1 cartoon, Peter Cullen did not voice Orion Pax in the episode War Dawn. It was another man named Lori Fazzo. So hopefully you can take comfort in that notion as we get another actor voicing Orion Pax. Ultimately, I'm kind of curious of how this movie is going to turn out. At one point, I thought we might be getting a trailer in early May, but we might get this trailer on the 18th of this month. So we will see. But for right now, we can only wait. This is Lights 126 saying to all of one.